Hey folks, Sean here, and in this episode I want to focus on making sure that you are comparing your level of progress largely against you, as opposed to what everybody else is doing, especially out there in the Wild West that is the internet. Now I say that because on Reddit I subscribe to a few subreddits that are SaaS focused, and in them I see stories all the time about these ridiculous levels of growth and success, and some on the opposite end of the spectrum as well too. Very, very little progress over a long period of time. And there's a lot of extremes on there, I would say. I don't know how many of them really are closer to what your experience might be or potentially should be. So I do a lot of coaching for B2B SaaS founders and scaling and growing B2B SaaS companies. So I've seen a lot in terms of performance and realistically know what to expect, especially if you're considering following essentially in the footsteps of me, which is largely doing everything in bootstrap fashion and for the most part also part-time. I think that affords a lot of convenience and a lot of potential upside without disrupting everything lifestyle-wise for you. And I'll talk more about that in other episodes as well too. But if you're not doing the whole, like they call it struggle porn, where you're really doing the hardcore lean startup thing, sleeping 2 hours a night, begging for money from VCs, whatever. I'm not into any of that. I'm into you having the life that you want to, and then pursuing some of your passion in this way to make additional passive income or potentially replace however you're making income today, perhaps full-time at some point, and that can potentially exceed considerably what it was you've been making. And all that can be done the way that I'm doing it, which is in bootstrap fashion and largely part-time. But having said that, the caution here is to be careful where you are going to get your benchmarks in terms of what's normal or typical or whatever. Realistically speaking, when it comes to B2B SaaS level performance, a lot of the stuff I find out there on the web is like, I'm at 10K MRR in 2 weeks or whatever. And, some of these numbers, especially depending upon what type of product that you're building, what it's priced at, what your market is, all those types of things. I don't know how many of these stories I really truly believe, but the only thing that really matters is that you're comparing yourself against yourself in terms of progress. Like, where were you last week? Where were you last month? Where were you last quarter? Whatever that is, your goal should be to try to do better than that. Not necessarily look in any of these areas, see who's achieving some ridiculous levels of success theoretically, and then feeling bad about that or that you're not doing something right or whatever. Because for me, for the most part, and I've been through every nook and cranny that is the crazy startup world, but it's the slow and steady wins the race. I've learned more about this world from the old school story, the tortoise and the hare, than realistically anything else. And luckily enough, I'm still around to tell a lot of these stories. So I believe that probably means some things are going right. And I'm hoping to transfer some of that knowledge and experience to you. So be careful who you compare yourself against. Largely compare yourself against yourself to make sure that you're making the right kind of progress in the right areas. And basically build according to what is reasonable for you, right? For me, I don't really look at my numbers like MRR and all those type of statistics all that frequently. Really what I'm looking for, I'm on a month-to-month cadence with some of my products at the moment. So I'm checking month over month progress. This is a long-term thing. I knew that going in, not expecting that to change all that much. And when I want to reach different levels of success and performance, I'll make sure that I cross certain milestones that I put in my way. So I'm building that path, but I'm building it myself based on what it is that I want from my product and my business. And I encourage you to do the same.